Rev up your engines!
Well, Stellantis has halted Jeep Wrangler and Grand Cherokee productions. Now, of course, they're not telling you the reasons, but what it seems the real reason is their inventories have swelled. They got all these unsold vehicles they can't get rid of. And, wow, I just had a fisherman in Tennessee here talk to me. He went up to Michigan, going fishing tournaments, and he was on one lake, and he said the whole side, these roads are just filled with brand new Jeeps. Well, they were hiding them there so people couldn't see how many were unsold, right? It looks bad when you have a bunch of unsold vehicles on your lot. I just went by a dealership here in Tennessee, and not only was the dealership full of unsold Jeeps, but then next door there was a hill. They were parking them on the hills too. They didn't have enough space to store them, and of course that's the worst thing on earth for a dealership, because if you don't know, the dealers don't actually own the cars. They get a loan from a bank for millions and millions of dollars, then they get the Jeeps, and then they have to pay at the end of every month the note on each one. So if they got one that's sitting there for 9 months, they just paid 9 payments that's out of their pocket, and they're losing money. So they don't want to have them lying around, so now they're stopped making them for a while. So like, we got too many of these things. What are we going to do? They're piling up all over the place. And of course, Jeep won't admit it. As they say when asked, Jeep hasn't provided any specific reasons why they stopped making them. Yeah. Oh, duh. They got too many of them. They can't sell them. Why keep making them? Yeah, that's, of course, is the reason why all these companies that said they were going to make all these electric cars said, no, now we're not. Even GM said, well, we're going to make 50,000 less of them than we said we were going to make. Yeah, because they can't sell the stupid things. Nobody wants them. And with the Jeeps, their quality's garbage. Ever since Stellantis took over, Fiat took over first, and then Jeep quality went down. Then Stellantis, it went right down, and people are finding out these things are crap. I've had people buy them. They had nothing but problems. Engines go out. Transmissions go out. Electronics have problems. Stellantis is not a good company. They cut corners, and if you're going to buy their cut corner products, hey, I'm warning you, don't. If you do, and then something goes wrong, don't say I didn't warn you, because I'm warning you right now. And some people must be listening because they're having a hard time selling them. Well, here's an interesting thing. It turns out that the new C8 Corvettes are depreciating faster than the older C7s. Now, of course, they came out with the C8 with the mid-engine Corvette, and people were paying way too much money for them. Then they had problems with the wheels cracking, the engines blowing up, and transmissions leaking. Well, no surprise, now they're depreciating faster than the older ones are because, of course, if you know anything about cars, sports cars basically are becoming less and less popular in society. It's not surprising that they're depreciating faster than people thought they would. One thing that a lot of people that don't understand cars often do, they think, it'll be a collector's item. It'll be worth a ton of money. No. You can't go out and buy something thinking it's going to become a collector's item. These are still mass-produced objects. They only have a certain value. People overpay for them when they first come out. Oh, I got to be the first one to get this. Then they find out they have problems. They are a sports car. Sports car, if you look at any of these auctions, sports car prices are dropping like a lead balloon. People really don't want them anymore. Corvettes themselves, the values have been dropping like a stone for the last 5 years or so. People just aren't that interested in them anymore. Old men are getting older and dying off. They're not buying these things anymore. The guys that collected them are all kind of crapping in their pants. If they made their nest egg buying a bunch of Corvettes to sell them, well, they're out of luck now if they haven't sold them because the prices are dropping like a stone. So, you know, the people that did like with the Cybertrucks, same thing. They bought them when they first came up, and then they'd sell them for 40 grand more than they paid. They were doing the same things with the Corvettes, right? Well, those days are now gone. People are coming back to their senses, and they're realizing, gee, you know, these things really aren't worth all that much money, and they are depreciating like mad. Anybody who thinks you buy a car and it's a good investment is not. It is not a good investment. Housing, yeah. Cars, no. They're a bad investment. Well, if you've been following the Cybertrucks and agree with me that they're kind of a miniature disaster, just wait. Winter is a-coming. And there'll be an even bigger disaster. They've shown people they're in 4 inches of snow. They're getting stuck. A guy in Lake Tahoe had to be towed out the area because there's just a little bit of snow and it got stuck, right? Well, that's only the beginning, the tip of the iceberg. when it gets cold outside, electric batteries don't work that well. Their range will be even worse. It'll take longer to charge them up. And something that we'll have to see what happens over time. But the Cybertruck has an aluminum extruded frame, okay? Frame's made out of aluminum. Well, I hate to tell people, but you get salt on the road in the winter with the slush to melt the ice. Salt water can really destroy aluminum frames. It can start pitting them and corrode them. Now, people say, oh, look, aluminum, great. It doesn't rust like steel. Well, it may not rust like steel, but it corrodes, and it corrodes sometimes even worse than steel. So we'll see over the course of time, how are these frames going to hold up? Because I see the frames on the East Coast from cars people bring me, they're all rotting away from being in the salt that they throw on. Even some people even sued some of the states saying that you used to use a mixture of salt and stuff, but now you only use 100% salt, which of course corrodes even faster. And you think, well, why did they go to 100% salt? Well, because it's cheaper. The other mix costs more, so they're going to cheaper salt. And of course, the people sued the states. The states won. I mean, hey, it's their own judges. Of course, they're not going to go against the state, right? But it'll be interesting to see if over time the salt eats up all their frames. We'll find out, won't we? So winters are coming. Beware the Cybertrucks. Now, here's an interesting one. Honda just patented a ride-on range extender for EVs. What it is, it's like a little electric two-wheeler that mainly looks like a battery, then the wheels fold out, that would go in the back of an EV, like in the trunk, and you could use the battery or the motor to extend your electric car range, right? But then you could stop, you could pick the thing up, and you could drive it somewhere. Now, you go back into time. There was a thing called Moto Campo. It was a cute foldable motorcycle that fit in the trunk of the Honda City car from the 1980s. And you could take them out and drive them around. If the Honda City was too big, it wasn't that big, it's a small car, but if that's too big for your needs, you could get this little electric motorcycle and take it out. They're basically mini scooters, right? So what it would use for if they were making an EV, and of course, Honda's not that big into EVs yet, you'd have a small gas-powered engine you could fuel up and use to help your electric car run, and then you could take it out and ride it around. So Honda's interesting idea is to turn the electric generator into a portable motorcycle. So you could take it out, ride on two wheels whenever you wanted. Kind of an interesting idea. I got to give them that, And the funny thing is, this isn't a fully electric little motorcycle. It's got a gasoline motor that runs a generator, because that's what they use to charge up the EV battery in the car. So if you did run out of electricity, you had a gas station nearby, you could fill up your little motorcycle with gasoline and ride around it after you take it out of the trunk of your Honda. Now, of course, this is just a prototype idea. They haven't actually made any of these, but hey, it's kind of interesting. It'd be hilarious if they actually made it, because then they'd have an electric vehicle, and its emergency rescue would be a gasoline-motored motorcycle in the trunk that you could take out and ride. Why not just start out with a gasoline motorcycle in the first place? Kind of an interesting idea. Yeah, I wish they'd make one. It'd be kind of a cool thing to see. Well, here's a bit of technology that I find it rather hilarious. A man was just arrested for creating fake bands with artificial intelligence. Then he made $10 million by listening to their songs with bots. Now, the scammer has been arrested under suspicion he used AI to create a wild number of fake bands and fake music, and then faking streams with more bots to get millions in revenue. Now, I don't personally understand the problem here, right? If the guy was smart enough to figure out how to get AI to make music and then have things listening to it, I don't blame him. I blame the idiots that paid him $10 million in revenue. Hey, they got a system out. They paid him the money. It's not like they went in and robbed the bank, right? He created music through his artificial intelligence. I don't know if the music's good or bad. I mean, a lot of music today's crap anyways. You might as well just have robots do it. The ones people are doing seem to be absolute trash as far as I'm concerned. Just repeating old songs over and over again. But this guy's, now he's arrested for, they caught him cheating the system. Well, the system is rotten beyond corrupt, if you ask me. If he can make fake music and have robots do it and he gets paid money for it, too bad. Your system is corrupt. Fix your system. Don't arrest the guy who figured out there's holes in it. If they've got a rotten system, that's just too bad. Now the people are crying. Listen to this. With bona fide artists struggling to make ends meet with music streaming services, this man worked with the help of two unnamed accomplices to create hundreds and thousands of songs that he fraudulently streamed. Hey, you know, if they got the system where they're barely paying the people anything that do make music, and so you got to get billions of hits, and this guy figured out how to do it, I say kudos to him for showing that their system stinks. But instead, they arrest him, right? Well, a scam. What did he scam? Is paying such a small amount of money that he figured out a way to get money out of that system. Some of these people, they get millions of hits for their music, and they make $50 or something. Hey, if this guy figured out how to do it, I say, I'm the system. Too bad. Your system's rotten. Fix your system. Don't arrest some guy who figured out how to beat your system. He didn't hurt anybody and rob a bank, right? He used his head and found a hole in your system. It's your fault. Not his, as far as I'm concerned. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.